they have the right to dictate how the team fights go with the jumps that they have on Gem, and also which is the Daytona's welcome coming out from the Barats. But again, MVP of that game is Mr. Big Damn Kelra on this Freya. Chantel mentioned it earlier. He's a more aggressive laner. Now it shows. Screw the Claude, screw the Bea, screw the. Even though it's his favorite, like the Bea and the Claude, but right now he's rocking the Freya. Like, who would have thought Kelra would be using someday a fighter that just pushes lanes? He doesn't need to farm, he just pushes lanes. He walks towards bottom lane, takes that tower, and Minana Evos, they had to deal with him for the first 6 minutes. And that left King Kong and basically all other members of Onic untouched. They just naturally scaled up. And the thing is, the reason why it worked, even though they didn't have a marksman, is that they have scaling mages, the Digi and the Lilia. This worked because both of them do enough damage in the late game, even though if you try building up radiant armor, it's not gonna work because they just do so much damage. And you also have like 2 utility frontliners, the Terizda and the Barats. They basically became the tank here for Onic. The damage didn't come out from the marksman, however, it did come out from the mages. But again, this Freya, if he is given an opportunity when he's able to jump a hero, he's gonna be deleted in seconds. But as we've said earlier, Doming did have a 1v3, 1v4 moment right there. We saw a glimpse of how strong Minana Evos lineup is in the late game, but the power of the team fight here for Onic is just so ridiculously good with the times journey, the jump, the setups. Even though they missed the last jump on Gem, it didn't matter because Onic, they had the capability of chasing the heroes down with the reverse time and just with this sheer mobility coming out from the Lilia. With the slows as well coming out from the Ice Queen 1, which really helped Onic in terms of actually utilizing these heroes and executing the team fights, because Minana Evos, the way they work is for them to deal damage and for them to participate in fights, they also have to stand toe-to-toe against these heroes, but they just naturally can't. And even though they had the vision and the pokes coming out from the Varya, once Onic decides to jump, that's basically the signal for Minana Evos to kind of utilize the Valentina with the Stolen Times journey. But in the last engage, in the last skirmish that we saw, that was forced out earlier before Minana Evos wanted to do so, and Onic just naturally went in for the engages. And instead of the halberd, he actually went for the Dragon Spear, which gave him more movement speed, more chase power, with heroes being slowed by the Ice Queen 1 coming out from the Lilia. Again, a very scaling mage alongside the Digi with Enchanted Talisman, Genius 1, and Flask, by the way. He also had a Flask, which gave them a huge shield for during the time's journey. That boosted Onic's capability of team fighting, and he added even more damage with a Genius 1. And the thing about Genius 1 is that it reduces the magic defense of anybody that he hits with the bombs that allow Super Prince to deal more damage. And also, again, just the concept of the reverse time. You try to run away, they bring you back, they chase you, they slow you down, Keller jumps on you, you're dead. That's basically the story of
through the numbers, starting with the MVP.
Well, the MVP of the match is going to be none other than King Kong on the Guinevere jungle. Who would have thought right after the nerf on the Gwyn, people didn't pick her up, they didn't like it, but he is like, all right, it's a good game for Gwyn. They have Barats, they have nothing against the jump. Let me pick up the Gwyn, you know, and make the game really, really hard for Minana Evos. Even though he has a negative KDA, 0.26, he did his job. Like the early game invasion, by the way, 86% kill participation, he really is part of the most fights that Onic took. And again, I just have to get, throw you back towards that early game invade that he did. He made sure that Kazin was not able to get the last green for his level 4, and that just set up a lot of pacing for Onic. Because the thing is, if Minana Evos got that turtle for the Barats, they're going to be able to like put more pressure in the mid game. And that didn't happen. Onic, they got the early game momentum. They didn't have to really care about Keldra at all, because it is a 1v1 matchup against against Doming with the carry. And all they did in the mid game is took the pressure elsewhere. Let's put it away from the gold lane, put it on bottom lane, make sure that we are addressing the possible momentum that Minana Evos can amass. And again, these jumps coming out from King Kong with the Gwyn really just forced out the Purifies, the Nether Realms. It was a weird and awkward team fight overall for Minana Evos because they were dictating nothing at all. Even Kirk with his Arlet cannot really set the pace here for Minana Evos. Every final slash target that he wants is able to walk out because of the presence as well of the Masilda. If they get caught, you can just use the Guiding Wind to get them out. And also, it's a different Onic. Like last week we saw Onic utilize backline heroes. Now they're utilizing frontline heroes. They have an amazing frontline strength with this lineup with Super Friends on the Lilia. They're tired with the jokes that Mangina's been cracking with the talikogenic technique. No longer are the backline support heroes here for Onic. Let's all be in the front line. Let's all stand in the front lines with the power of the Claude. They are able to shred through the defense that Minana Evos has with the Faramis, and also that stolen Black Shoes or whatever from Lancy. Even the last Insanity does not last at all against this lineup of Onic. Lancy was able to, utilize the ultimate of the X-Borg, but only for like a good second or two. And Onic just pulled off with an amazing momentum towards that late game. Kelra, 878 GPM. There's a reason why this guy is called the gold standard, even up against Doming, which, again, Naisu has stated earlier that he paves his way. Yeah, sure, Doming is very efficient. He's able to farm, kill, take down turrets, but Kelra just does his job alone. He's very efficient as a gold laner. 70,000 damage on the Claude, and we saw that against the Barats. Like, it took a good second.